I have managed to turn £400 to £14,000 since March last year is because I bought stocks on the way up, and when it stops going up, I sell. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you've been following the stock market news this week, then you're probably asking yourself, is this a stock market crash? Because boy, it's a bloodbath out there right now. There are so many stocks down. It's been a really rough week. And if you're a first-time investor, you're probably panicking, you're probably worried, and you're probably thinking, my God, I want to get my money out. And in this video, we're going to talk about, is this a stock market crash? Is it not a stock market crash? And 3 things you should do now. So look, stay tuned to this. Make sure you stick towards the end because I'm going to give you some practical stuff, some really important stuff as well to consider. And if you're a first-time investor, by the way, on YouTube, trying to learn about investing, I would invite you to subscribe to this channel. I am a professional. I've been in financial services 15 years. I've advised people as I'm a qualified financial advisor. I've worked with advisors as a consultant. I've been in wealth management, worked for investment houses. I've worked in Canary Wharf. I've been around this stuff for quite some time. And unlike many YouTubers and many people on social media, they often talk about investing, give you the rosy, the sexy, the trendy. I give you both sides of the coin because I believe that is really important if you're going to have a period of time where you invest in the market to actually create wealth and actually know what to expect. It is not all rose petals and gold out here, guys. These times like this are testing. They are really difficult. And this is where you earn your stripes when it comes to investing. So consider subscribing. I post it every Tuesday, every Friday at 5 p.m. Hit that notification bell. But more importantly, make sure that you smash the like button so that other people just like you get to see the benefit of this video as well. With that being said, let's talk about this. Okay, before we get started, guys, just a quick reminder. This Sunday at 9:30, we have our next live Q&A session, and this session is going to be focused on pensions. So we'll be taking questions on pensions and pensions only. Now, I've got Pension Bee coming along because they are a pensions provider. They specialize in consolidating pensions. So if you have worked, I should say, for a number of businesses, you don't know how to get all of them under one roof, they'll be perfect for that. If you're self-employed and you have no idea how to begin investing in your pension, how much you should be contributing, what you need to do, this is going to be a great live session for you because we are going to essentially create a safe place for you to ask questions and not feel ridiculed, not feel stupid for asking a question. I want to see you there. I look forward to seeing you there. If you know anyone who this might be suitable for, mom, dad, relatives, friends, brothers, sisters, please share the event with them as well. I can't wait. It's going to be really, really great. Now, with that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about some terminology and some definitions because stock market crash and stock market correction are often used interchangeably, but they are 2 very different things. So what is a stock market crash? A stock market crash is essentially when you see the value of a stock market drop severely. So it's a really, really sharp decline in the value of that market. So 2007, 2008 is a prime example. Markets halved 51, 52%. That is a stock market crash. A stock market correction, however, is essentially when a stock market falls at least 10% of its previous 52-week high. And again, that could be across a matter of days, weeks, or months. So that leads to the question, are we in a stock market crash or are we in a stock market correction right now? The answer is we're probably not in a crash because the drops have not been severe so far. However, we may be heading towards a little bit of a correction. I mean, just looking at some of my holdings today, I mean, even I want to sometimes just run for the hills. It's brutal. It's all red. And look, if you're first-time investor just starting this out, you probably haven't got any experience of this. You've been told on social media and all across YouTube that everything goes up all the time and it's great and it's dandy. And today and this week will probably be a little bit of a shock to you. And look, you've got to hold your nerve here. This is where you earn your stripes. It's not all sexy, it's not all trendy, not all of the time. But I want to show you this graph actually, because this graph kind of gives us a representation of what's happened since 2007 and 2008, when the markets did half, by 51, 52%. And what you're seeing here is a huge run on growth. And this is looking at the S&P 500 and the FTSE 100. So the S&P 500 mainly being, the top 500 companies in the world, and it's certainly in the US, massive growth. I mean, the difference between those 2 points is 126%. 126%. And if you even look at a separate chart, which is this one, this shows you the stock market crashes through history. And what you're going to see here is that the difference of where you end up after a market crash is absolutely phenomenal. So after a dip, that the subsequent growth is absolutely huge. And this is one of the reasons why mindset is so important when you're investing, and why I always say investing is a long-term game, not a short-term game. This is a marathon. It's certainly not a sprint. And these graphs kind of illustrate that beautifully. And one thing that a couple of things that I do want to get across in this video is that if you are a first-time investor, I started off this year talking about goals. What are your goals? I talk about that from a personal point of view. You need to have personal goals. You need to have investment goals. And the reason why that is so important, I've said it on podcasts, I've said it on IGTV Lives, is that in times like this, when we have a really turbulent, difficult time in the markets, what is going to keep you focused and stop you from panicking is essentially your goal. Why you're doing this. This is all about mindset. I talk about this in my course. And again, if you've not taken the course, it might be worthwhile taking the course so you get the foundations that you need. You should always invest with a goal in mind. Your goal will keep you anchored to the purpose and the reason why you're doing something. And it's going to help you get through difficult times like this. This is a marathon, not a sprint. This is like, going on 100-mile trip. And then on 10 miles in, you come across this road with potholes for half an hour. Are you going to turn around and just go home and forget the journey that you were supposed to go on? Or are you going to find a way around it? Exactly the same thing with investing. You have to ask yourself why you're investing. What are you doing this for? What do you actually want to achieve by investing? If it's something that is intrinsically driven, so it means something to you, there's an intrinsic value to your why, to your goal, then what's happened this week and part of last week is completely inconsequential. Makes no difference at all. Because at the end of the day, you have a purpose, you have a goal. And this mindset is really, really, really important to try and make sure that you nurture and you grow within you. Social media has certainly told us that, this kind of stuff doesn't happen, and stocks go up, and, the dividend payments are always going to be there, and, you can invest now and get returns over 2-3 weeks. Guys, this is not the reality. And this is just a sample of what can happen and what will continue to happen in the stock market when you're investing. And it's going to be a big shock if you're not prepared for this. And I say this all the time, markets will go up and down. I have no problems telling you guys that this is what is going to happen, because it will. And you need to be prepared for that. It's all about managing your risk. If you're using Trading 212 and you're looking at your stock portfolio right now, and everything that you've bought is down, or the majority of what you bought is down, trust me, I know the feeling. I have a Trading 212 account. I have individual stocks held across different apps. Most of my stocks are down as well, but I don't solely invest in individual stock. That's why I use a core satellite approach, where I use index funds, where I use other instruments where I hold most of my money. Most of the funds that I'm in at the moment are still okay. They're not down as much as some of my individual stocks, because I've managed to diversify my risk. I've spread my risk, trying to stack the odds in my favor. Again, I cover this in the course. This is the art of investing. We're not trying to guess things here. We're trying to take a calculated risk towards building wealth for the future. And times like this will come to test us, but mindset is really, really, really important. And you know what? I love to see, and I will be watching what some of these YouTubers will be talking about now that the market's on a little bit of a turbulent run. Are they still going to be doing, reviews where they're talking about what their returns are? These videos, and it's very nice to talk about positive returns, but when it's negative, what are you going to say to people? What words of encouragement are you going to give to people? And in this video, I'm going to give you 3 things that you should do right now if you are indeed looking at this thinking, oh my God, I don't like this, I want to get out. And look, on that note, I just really want to hammer one thing home, right? And I said this on a video maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And this is something that needs to be said more across social media. I've said this in one of the videos, I've said this on my podcast, I've said this on IGTV Live a number of times. Investing is such that we can all be happy with our positive returns. Tesla, I am massively down on Tesla right now. I don't even want to think about it. Massively down on Tesla right now. However, I'm down and it's not real yet. When I was up and it was fantastic, it wasn't real. Your gains and your losses when you invest are not real until you cash them in. I'm going to say that again, just so it sinks in, guys. Your gains, so that positive that you're looking at in your Trading 212 account, your free share account, or your eToro account, that is not real until you cash it in. The losses that you're seeing right now, if you do have losses, are not real until you cash it in. It's like that scene in Wolf of Wall Street.
It's fake. Fairy dust.
So please bear that in mind when you're investing. Yes, there are numbers on the screen, and the positive numbers are attractive. They're sexy. They're trendy. That's what everybody's talking about, right? On TikTok, people saying, well, how I have managed to turn £400 to £14,000 since March last year is because I bought stocks on the way up, and when it stops going up, I sell. Is this really what we're paying attention to now, guys? Like, seriously? If that's the kind of stuff that you're following, you need to think again, because that's not how the stock market works. And that is a real life example in a group that I joined this morning. And it horrifies me to see this kind of stuff on TikTok. People selling the fallacy that this is how they're being digital nomads, when in reality, their £400 went from £400 to £14,000 because people are using their Trading 212 links and they're getting free shares. Not because of market returns, it's because of the free shares being given to them under the referral program, meaning they get free money and they just keep it in stocks and pass it off as returns. Need to be very, very careful. But regardless, it is not real until you cash it in. And this leads me to the 3 things that you should do now. And these things I hope that you're going to find comfort in. Some of them will be counterintuitive. Look, guys, I'm going to give it to you raw. I'm going to give you the truth. These are the things that you should do right now. You should bear in mind right now. Number 1, the first thing you need to do, and this is really going to be counterintuitive, particularly if you're a first-time buyer and you're panicking because you've got an emotional attachment to your money, and I have as well. Stay calm. Do not panic. Again, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. This is a long-term game. The question that you need to ask yourself is twofold. First and foremost, what are you doing this for? What is your goal? What is your why? If you have that clear, you know exactly why you're doing this, what your goal is, what your motivation behind all of this is. Hold on to that, because that goal right there will give you a reason to stay in, not to jetting yourself out just because the going's got a little bit rough. A little bit rough, and I have to stress that. There are worse times than this. Hopefully we don't see those days again, but there have been worse times than this. To stay calm. Do not panic. Think about your why. The second question you have to ask yourself is one really not a question, really, but something you need to remind yourself of. Actually, it is a question. Do you believe that the stock market is going to be higher than where it is right now in 10, 15, 20 years' time? If the answer to that question is yes, then this is a bump in the road. It is completely inconsequential to the bigger picture. It's that 100-mile journey again. It's only half a mile road that you come across with potholes. Are you really going to turn around because it's a half-mile stretch of road with potholes? Are you really going to turn around and go home, or are you going to find a way around it and stay the course? Exactly the same thing applies here, guys. Tip number 2 of what you should do right now is you should definitely fight the urge to cash in your investment unless you absolutely need the cash. Again, a loss is not real. A gain is not real unless you cash it in. Fugazi, fugazi. Fight the urge. Yes, I know it's difficult. You want to get into safety. You want your money out because you don't like the idea that it could go down any further. But you need to fight the urge. It's not real until you cash it in. It's just a number on a screen right now. It's not real. So fight the urge to cash that in unless you really, 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 really need the cash. The third and final thing, but certainly not least, is listen, if you've got some money lying around right now, this is an opportune time, and this is all about mindset. In investing, we don't apply simple business logic. In business, you learn you buy low and you sell high. Only investing is when people buy high and sell low because they get scared. It is completely counterintuitive. So if you've got some money lying around right now, this is the opportune time for you to invest in some stocks, to invest in some funds. Because guess what? What do you think Warren Buffett is doing right now? He's licking his lips, rubbing his hands with glee, knowing that this is where he's going to be able to pick up some companies at cheap rates, at a discount, and make money. This is a mindset shift. We often get scared when this happens. We want to bail out. This is the time to get in. I'm going to repeat that just so that it is clear. This is the time to get in. So if you're investing on a monthly basis right now, this is a great time for you because you're really going to benefit from pound cost averaging. And yes, look, markets still might fall further, and there is no way of timing this. Time in the market is better and more important than time in the market. So you could be investing on a monthly basis and the market falls even further. Fantastic. Let it fall further because you're going to be buying more companies at a discount. Mindset shift, guys. We have to think about this correctly. So if you've got money lying around right now, this is where you need to start strategizing. You need to start planning. Do your research if you're buying individual stocks. Obviously, do your research even if you're buying ETFs or funds, right? Do your research, invest. This is no time to be running for the hills and thinking, oh my God. Oh, no. This is what people have been waiting for. This is what wealthy people have been waiting for. A market correction, a market crash is good. It is an opportunity to get businesses at a discount that in the long run, in the long term, will deliver you wealth. All right, so there it is, guys. Let me know if you found any of those tips useful. Look, this is time to be cautious and, just be rational and not let our fears run away with us because, my ultimate goal here is to ensure that people have got both sides of the coin, right? So that you don't have a bad experience that then means that you get put off investing for the future. That's my worst fear for many people here on YouTube and across social media, really, to be honest, because the stuff that is being pushed out at the moment across the majority of social media is just full of absolute nonsense. It's selling a fallacy, which doesn't really exist. There is no such thing as, rosy investments that are forever green. Where you're going to have red days, and this is just an example of it. And this isn't even that bad. I mean, in the scheme of things, it's not. But guys, before I go, a couple of things. First and foremost, as you probably already know from one of the previous videos, I have been nominated for an online financial influencer award. And it would be great to have your support by voting for me. You will be entered into a prize draw to win £1,000. I will place a link and I will pin that in the comment section below. Secondly, the voting for that ends on April 9th, by the way, so there's still some time to go. So if you're watching this and you've made it this far, thank you. Please consider voting for me as well. If you haven't listened to the podcast this week, there it is right there. It's an absolute cracker. Make sure you go check it out. I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday, talking about pensions, taking some answers, and generally just educating and informing you. I hope that you're going to find value from it. Actually, I know that you're going to find value from it. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing weekend. And remember, money is a tool. Life is for living. I will catch you later on.